Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need into the cloud. I can guarantee you no dry slots in the Copiers Plus cloud. Always productive. Always productive.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. It's Super Bowl week.
Yes.
It's rare that I am super jealous of people in our profession.
Okay.
But I always wanted to cover the Super Bowl. I always wanted to go to the Super Bowl. And I am insanely jealous that you went to the Radio Row like so many times. And it's almost like when people tell a story about spring break or Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. Like I went to Mardi Gras when it was really Mardi Gras. And it's like you went to the Super Bowl, like you went to some cool places. And I feel like it was like the true death knell of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because you even went to like when it became Super Bowl opening night and shit.
Okay.
So you saw this whole evolution of people like proposing to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And none of it was like, it wasn't a complete farce is what I'm getting at. Like it was a true.
Well, it's always been a farce.
Well, I mean, fair. But I mean, it's like this true, not journalistic experience, but like if you ever covered sports or grew up wanting to be in this business, I think you wanted to go to the Super Bowl and cover the Super Bowl, work at the Super Bowl. And you've done it multiple times at some pretty cool spots too.
Well, a couple things about that. Yes, right out of the gate. It's been pretty cool to be able to do Radio Row because it's not as easy as people might think.
It's totally different than the Final Four Radio Row you said, where people are fed to you.
Oh, it's totally different.
Like Super Bowl Radio Row, you have to go hunt and kill what you eat.
Well, you have to actually prove that you belong on Radio Row. I don't know how it is now. So context, the first and foremost, all the credit goes to my former program director, Jason Dixon.
Okay. Jason
is now at Sirius XM. He's been there for quite some time. Really good dude. Easily one of my favorite program directors that I've been able to work with. And he had, big radio vision of why don't we go to Radio Row?
Because he's like, hey, we're not an NFL market, but
it's good for advertisers. It's good for advertisers. You can build a package around it, all that kind of stuff. So the first one that Adam Gold and I went to was in 2012. That was at Lucas Oil Stadium. So first Super Bowl Radio Row was in Indianapolis. Okay. Then we went to...
So the second Giants-Pats.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we went to New Orleans after that for the famous Lights Out game between San Francisco and Baltimore.
Or the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah. The Harbaugh Bowl. But that's when the power went out, remember?
Yeah, Beyonce. It was all her fault.
And then we went to MetLife where I watched...
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Full circle moment. That's the actual Super Bowl I actually attended.
Yes.
Though.
Yes.
Like I actually went to that game, sat under a heater like an iguana because they thought it was going to be super cold that day.
It really wasn't that cold that day.
It wasn't. It was actually in like the 50s that day.
Seahawks Broncos, safety on the very first play of the football game. And it was...
The game was over right there. Yeah. So I had this weird full circle moment watching Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very strange.
Also, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So have a Super Bowl party every year because I love the Super Bowl. It's a holiday in my house. It's like my third favorite day of the whole year. And James at the time, 2014, would have been 9, and he was a Seahawks fan.
Yeah.
And I go, so give me a score prediction today, James. And he goes something like 52-3. I'm like, oh, come on, James. It's the Super Bowl. It's not going to be 52-3. He's like, fine. 49-7.
Close.
43-8 was that final score. And I think that's where I really lost him as someone, I can't talk about in this business now because I think of that day where he almost nailed the Super Bowl final.
But then we skipped Arizona, and I think we were done with Super Bowl Radio Rows because...
So you skipped the Patriots Seahawks part 1.
Yeah, we skipped that one because they started... These were like the flights weren't cheap, the accommodations weren't good, all that kind of stuff. So we were doing strategic travel in this particular case. And then the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. We had no choice. Since we already had built up the goodwill of having gone to the Super Bowl, it was easier to get on Radio Row. You got to prove who you are, right? Same with getting a credential to the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's very, very difficult to get. Now,
I feel like Adam still regularly got his. When you say you were able to go to the one at MetLife Stadium.
Oh, no.
Did Adam go to the other ones or no?
That was always we got one credential to go to the game.
To the game. Okay.
Yes. And
because he would have been there in 2004.
We were
Panthers.
We were supposed to alternate.
Okay.
But then we didn't.
Okay.
And I think there were some reasons why we didn't alternate, which was fine.
Yeah.
And also here's the dirty little secret about this. Okay.
Can't see the game. You're missing the whole phenomenon.
For the guy who wants to cover the Super Bowl, it's actually not a good experience in terms of watching the Super Bowl to what you get, what you actually get out of the Super Bowl. The NFL is a television product. The Super Bowl, of all of the games, is truly meant to be watched on television. The halftime show doesn't hit the same. You don't get to see the commercials. It's just the communal experience of the Super Bowl is completely lost when you're actually at the game. Now, if I was Mr. Big Business and I had networking opportunities to do things, then you go to the Super Bowl because you're in a suite and you're talking and you're getting business done. If you are a fan of a team that this is their one chance to win a Super Bowl, like say the Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, then, that first Eagles Super Bowl, man, you want to go to that.
In Minneapolis, okay.
Same with the Panthers, right? Like, I get why Drake May went 10 years ago, because holy crap, the Panthers are back in the Super Bowl. How many times is this going to happen? We're going, right? That makes sense. But in terms of actual coverage, that's the other thing too about Radio Row. It's the old saying in this business. You got in and you get to hear stories from the old timers about how things used to be.
Sure.
Right. You and I have always experienced this as it relates to the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Or ACC matters. If Jeff Gravely were hanging out with us right now and we do a seance and Tudor comes back to life, right? And the ghost of Colton Tudor's hanging out with us, those two would sit here and be talking about, remember when they picked us up on a bus and they took us all around? Wait, they did what now?
I'm sorry,
what?
They paid for everything?
I'm sorry, the conference paid for you to go on a bus, on a tour for media? Huh. Now they don't even give us food. Here's a voucher. Go have fun with the rest of the unwashed masses, right? So those are the differences, right?
When do you think the Super Bowl jumped the shark?
I will say that I was lucky in that I got to experience Radio Rows at the height of Radio Rows, while the media still looked like what you have the media in your mind. Now, with all the budget cuts and the way the NFL has gotten a little bit more
homogenized
and also greedy as to who gets to do stuff, it'll never be the same. So at least I got to go to a Super Bowl Radio Row or a couple of Super Bowl Radio Rows that were at the height of that. You want to know when it peaked? It was actually the last Super Bowl I went to. It was Super Bowl 50 with the Panthers on a couple of fronts. That was the first time they decided to get away from the Roman numerals because they liked the 50. So right out of the gate, they're breaking from tradition. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they went 50, okay? 5-0, and rather than the Roman numerals, okay? Issue number one. Issue number two, that was the first time they did opening night.
I was going to say, they changed the format.
Because
it used to be the week before. It was like the Saturday or Sunday before. You go out in the field and everyone had a little cubicle set up.
Yep. And then they turned into a TV show.
Yeah.
And
too many people there was a lot of marriage proposals all the time.
Yes. So that's when the NFL got in on the joke of Media Day. That's when it officially jumped the shark.
Okay.
It used to be just something that wacky radio morning zoo crews would go out and do.
Right.
And it had a certain charm to it. And then the NFL went, what if we put that on television?
Whoa.
Let's do it. And because remember, the whole point was to go viral before we knew what viral was. Now everybody's doing the same thing. Like the Spanish language puppet asking ridiculous questions.
Right.
Like those types of things.
I think I already know the answer. My guess would be New Orleans was your favorite Super Bowl, but something tells me that's not right.
In terms of covering?
What was the best setup that you went to where you're like, okay, the Super Bowl, what was your Omaha moment where you left there and said, now, damn it, they should have this is why they have the College World Series here every year. When I went to the College World Series, it was
honestly,
okay, I get it.
Honestly, Indianapolis.
That's where I was going because I feel like you had a really good time in
everything was centralized in Indianapolis. Yeah. You go to New Orleans, everything is spread out. You got to experience a Radio Row for New Orleans. It's like, okay, cool. You've got Bourbon Street.
We're not there.
That's not where we're doing things. We're all the way down at this convention center that's not near anything.
Yeah.
And the Superdome is walkable. I mean, sure. Sure it is.
20 years ago.
Not now. Right? Whereas in Indianapolis, everything around Lucas Oil is essentially walkable. Right?
The NFL basically built that whole city, right? For the combine.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is set up to be walkable. So that's why Indianapolis ended up being good. And then, of course, the New York, it was just like another, like New.
Oh, stop. When were you in New York?
For the MetLife game.
No, I know. When were you at? Was there stuff did they do stuff in New York?
It was at the Marriott Marquis where they did all the Radio Row stuff, right?
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was at the Marriott Marquis. It was at one of the fancier hotels.
So they actually did have it in Manhattan.
Oh, all the stuff happened in Manhattan,
other than the
within
game,
walking distance of Times Square.
Because
the
New
only
York
thing
controlled because that's where their offices are.
Yeah.
NFL's office are.
The only thing that wasn't in New York was the actual game, and
Okay.
I'll never forget because this is the game I actually went to. I had to get on a bus, right?
Had you been to the Meadowlands before that?
And that was the first time I've ever been at the Meadowlands.
Interesting.
So I got on a bus, and they had and you have to clear out the blocks so that the media bus can get there. So they're very much on time. If you want to get to MetLife Stadium, you have to get on the bus at this time. And they had a police escort to take you out of the city to MetLife. It was pretty freaking comical. Yeah, the only two times I've ever experienced a police escort on a bus were at the Super Bowl. One to get to MetLife. The other was to get out to San Jose, because the Super Bowl 50, even though everything was based in San Francisco, all the stuff was in like the San Jose, Santa Clara area. And
that's where the stadium is.
And
right?
the opening night was where the Sharks play.
Oh, the arena.
The arena.
Oh.
I think it's called like SAP Arena or something like that. Or at the time it was SAP Arena.
Sure.
And we had a police escort in the middle of San Francisco Bay Area traffic get us there. Me and Darren Gant just chilling.
So you did get to stay in New York for the New York Super Bowl.
Yeah, we stayed there. That's where we stayed.
Interesting.
That's where we stayed. So trust me.
It's like meeting your heroes.
Super Bowl coverage is not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is.
I think probably if I was younger, like the Vegas one obviously would have been.
Also the Radio Row stuff too, to your point. You know, you go to a Final Four, Westwood One is the one who puts it together. Okay. So and you're an affiliate of Westwood One because you've been carrying the games, you've been carrying the NCAA tournament, right? So their job is to
shouts to Josh Graham, Westwood One.
That's right. So the job is to just feed you all their people along with folks that are trying to sell stuff. The Super Bowl Radio Row is like Game of Thrones, man. It's like everybody fighting for crumbs. And if you're not in a major market, you know how many times we had to walk up to a handler and be like, what market are you? The minute they would ask, what market are you? I knew we were already on the negative end. Like, we're in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. And they're like, and what market is that? So, obviously that leads to one of my speaking of Cam Newton, one of my all-time favorite Radio Row stories was the guy who represented Cam Newton for Under Armour looking at me like I had taken a dump in front of him when I said, we're from Raleigh. He said, and he just looked at me like, get the fuck out of my face. It's like, no, but we're like in North, that was my hook.
You should have told him, hey man, in 10 years, we're going to be Blue Wire compatriots.
I know, right? No, but I said to him, like, we're the only representative from North Carolina here on Radio Row.
Interesting.
When I had a chance to talk to Cam Newton in New York. And the guy still did not care. The only guy who was a real one was the Pizza Hut guy. Because Cam was doing something like an Ace Boogie pizza. And that's what led to the very
authentic New York slice.
Yes, that led to one of my all-time favorite interview moments. Where have you interviewed people? In the back of a Times Square Pizza Hut with Cam Newton.
See?
But the Pizza Hut guy was a real one. He goes, look, man, I can't do it here, but if you come to the Pizza Hut at this block near Times Square, I'll give you 5 minutes with Cam. I was like, perfect. So
Let's go.
So I trucked it down there. I also talked to Little Bub, the cat, the very famous internet cat. I had a Discovery Channel thing too. I went to go meet Little Bub.
Little Bub. It's almost like you're a cat dad. If only you had a mug that said.
If only I had a mug.
Greatest cat dad.
Joe, I have been told, based on this from the Athletic Pulse, this email that I get every day. Joe, it's an incredible sports week. It's here.
Amazing.
We have the Super Bowl.
Right.
We have the Olympics.
Sure.
And more importantly, we've got Duke, Carolina. Tell me it's Duke, Carolina time without telling me it's Duke, Carolina time. Yes.
My guy.
Brian Ives, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Ives has.
That was the signal for Brian. Hey, Brian, they're both ranked. Oh, hey, girl, whisper in my ear. The 88th meeting.
Hold on. Let me.
I already know it off the top of my head. 88th meeting.
Let me pull up the tweet. So Brian, we love Brian. Brian works over at ESPN, ACC Network. He got his start doing stats and information for ESPN, and he's moved up the corporate ladder, but still deep inside, just like you're a beat reporter at heart, just like I'm a morning zoo guy at heart, Brian's a stat guy at heart. So it's Duke Carolina week when we get him to go full Bart Simpson. Say the line, Brian. Say the line. Saturday will mark the 88th meeting in which Duke and North Carolina are ranked. That is 47 more than any other matchup. In those games, North Carolina, 44 wins, 77.9 points per game. Duke, 43 wins, 77.4 points per game. Joe, it always delivers.
So it sounds like it's scripted that Duke needs to win.
Yeah.
To make it 44-44.
Mm-hmm.
And if the total is less than 154, go over.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's greater than 154, go under.
Okay.
Got it. Notes taken.
Done.
Done and done.
Okay. It's interesting with the...
Should probably parlay it with Caleb Wilson to get double figures.
I mean, has he not had double figures in every game he's played this year?
Every game.
Right? They played 21 times. He's had 21 games in which he's scored double figures. It's pretty impressive, all things considered. It's interesting. Waiting for the snow on Saturday and also kind of dealing with the snow on Sunday. I managed to watch a lot of college basketball.
Yeah.
Not just
big weekend.
Not just local, but some of the national games that were of interest, like Kansas and BYU, Alabama, Florida. Some of those things will come up in lightning round a little bit later on. But one thing that I have picked up on in the newsletters that I subscribe to, like Basket Under Review, or listening to guys like Field of 68, or listening to my guy Matt Norlander and my guy Gary Parrish with Eye on College Basketball. While Duke is a story, it's not the story anymore because they don't have Cooper Flagg. And yet, Duke...
They still might have the best freshman.
They still might have the best freshman. They still might have the best team, especially if they're going to play defense the way they played defense against Virginia Tech. All right.
Well, really going back to the SMU game, Boopie Miller was out in that game, and people were like, man, Duke came home and they won, but like
bracket luck is real, Joe.
Kind of like these other games where they gave up 87 to Florida State, and even the Louisville game where you're like, no Mikal Brown, and and you were like, what's wrong? And even John was like, defensively, we got to figure some shit out.
Well, in the first half, because Duke was following a pattern. And Duke is now in a different kind of pattern. But Duke was following a pattern in those games that you're referencing in which they didn't really seem locked in defensively in the first half, and they had to climb out of those holes. I think we've used the phrase problem solving in real time for Duke so far this season. That is a testament to John Shire as a coach. That is a testament to the group of players that they have. That is Cam Boozer and his compete. And the whole team's compete, really.
His consistency has been remarkable.
And you talk about Caleb Wilson's consistency. Boozer's consistency has been fantastic. And that, I think, came to a head on Saturday against Virginia Tech, in which defense was the story, rebounding was the story. And as much as we've been talking about threes, they didn't need a lot of threes in this game. They didn't need it because they were getting rebounds and they were scoring off second chance points. And ultimately, they kept Virginia Tech from scoring. So Duke... It's weird. We're focused on Florida. Like I was reading this morning. Oh, Florida's back to looking like a national title contender after much like Duke, some shaky games early on. We're all caught up in G Leaguers and all this other stuff. And we're also still caught up in what Cooper Flagg's doing in the pros right now than we are what's going on with Duke locally. So based on what I've seen out of Duke going into this game against North Carolina, I'm going to bank on the one who's been more consistent all year long, or who has been able to problem solve in real time when they've been facing some adversity. Carolina, I still think, is figuring it out. Now, what's interesting about this conversation in my mind, I was actually thinking about it on the drive in today. How many weeks ago was it when you and Hayes did the show from Lenovo Center? And I think the title of that podcast was Danger Zone for State and Carolina, right? Because let's think about it. Carolina was coming off some ugly losses to Stanford and Cal.
It was 2 weeks ago. It
was 2 weeks
19th.
ago? Okay, so it was 2 weeks ago. What is time? The snow's messing with me. So Carolina's coming off that West Coast road trip, and everybody's all freaking out. I mean, like, people having like some conversations about Hubert Davis and his future and what's up with these point guards. And oh my, look what Elliot Cadeau is doing. I've seen this pop up online a little bit. Like, whether it's real or not, the sentiment exists. I'm just presenting this sentiment as something that is out there. I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it. I'm simply pointing out this sentiment exists. Where you're seeing Elliot Cadeau play from Michigan, and people are like, would have been nice to have that guy had it not been for the former Carolina basketball player podcast network running, quote unquote, running that guy off. Okay. Now, funny thing has happened in the last 2 weeks for Carolina specifically. I know you nailed this, last Monday as it relates to Derek Dixon. Looks like he's comfortably fit into what his role is now, right? Henry Visar, talk about response. Coming off not a great game against Virginia, coming back and having a monster game against Georgia Tech. And, of course, the consistency of Caleb Wilson, more specifically to Caleb Wilson as a freshman, learning the patience to work the double teams to their advantage, right? Because remember, there was some, were we not I was included in this, banging on Hubert Davis with, hey, man, I don't know, in crunch time in these losses, maybe get the ball to Caleb Wilson. And I remember he kind of cavalier at one point said, well, they're putting guys on him. Right. Cam Boozer's got guys on him all the time. This is freshmen coming into their own and learning things on the fly as the season goes on and having to give them the opportunity or the window to improve. We've seen that out of Caleb Wilson, take that to an advantage, kicking it out, and Carolina making Georgia Tech pay. We've seen this a couple different times. So 2 weeks ago, it's freak out mode. Now going into a game against Syracuse tonight, which they should beat because Autry's probably on his way out at Syracuse. Syracuse is on the decline. And then the Duke game on Saturday. I think the vibe has shifted a little bit on the Tar Heels. A lot of that credit goes to the players, and a lot of that credit goes to Hubert Davis for getting these guys to know what their roles are, as you should, as we now enter into the last 10 games of the season for the Tar Heels. In fact, we're into that last 10 or fewer games mark for the Triangle teams. 10 more for Carolina, 10 more for Duke, 9 more for NC State. But I think Carolina's, to their credit, from a bad place, they've turned these things around. Now we'll get an actual litmus test tonight to handle a game that they should beat, taking care of business against Syracuse, and we'll see how they show up against Duke on Saturday.
It's like the footballification of the schedule in basketball.
A little bit.
Right? Like, I just feel like we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for the games that we're going to be interested in that we care about. Certainly one of those is Saturday between Duke and Carolina. And you look again, like they're playing Syracuse. I feel like State and Carolina are playing the same schedule. I'm sure there's a board somewhere in Paul Brazzo's computer that shows me how these things all work out. But it just feels like a waiting and waiting and waiting, right? Mm-hmm. It's for all three of them. Like we want to see them play each other. We want to see them play Virginia. We want to see them play, Duke's played Louisville twice. The Clemson game, obviously, that State had last week was interesting. It just feels like we're hurrying up and waiting while they kind of establish what they're doing against these other teams, the Flotsam and Jetsam of the ACC, which is basically what we've seen so far. So I'm excited to see our teams play each other. That's a good thing. It's one of those years, though. I wonder, Joe. Last 3 years has been an interesting run for the ACC. Last year, 4 teams make the NCAA tournament. Duke's the only one that won more than one game. Carolina won a first 4 game, then lost. So Duke won 4 games last year in the tournament. Louisville, Clemson, and Carolina won a combined 1 and 3. 2024, State goes to the Final Four, and there were 4 teams in the Sweet 16. 2023, 5 teams get in, only 1 in Miami made the Sweet 16 in 2023. So the league has it also feels like that way. Like this year, maybe 7, 8 ACC teams get in.
Yeah.
How many of them are going to be in the Sweet 16? Like, who has that potential? We'll talk about State a little bit more. I think State and Carolina are in the very same place right now. They're not one of the. I've got 6 teams who I think can win the entire championship.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay.
Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Houston, Texas Tech, UConn. That's it.
Okay.
Then I got another group of 7 where you're like, I probably really don't want to see them in the bracket, but ultimately they have a flaw that's going to cost them. Iowa State, Illinois, Florida, Purdue, Michigan State, Gonzaga, and then Kansas and BYU are the same team, so I just kind of lumped them together.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think there's another tier, to use your Ken Palm terminology, where there are teams that are just, they're good. They're good. They got something that they do well in the case of like a Nebraska, Vanderbilt, Alabama. They're really good offensively. But I think State and Carolina is in that third group, and I got 8 teams in there where you're like, they're a good team. They either have a really good coach, or they have a really good offense, or they have a really good defense, or they're figuring some things out. But ultimately, I just don't know that they're going to amount to that much. And that's where I worry. That's where State and Carolina are collectively.
So I find State more interesting than Carolina in the what are you? Okay. I kind of know what Carolina is. We've spent a good chunk of time talking about what Carolina is. You got your bigs. You need the point guard situation to figure itself out. And oh, by the way, give a shit on defense. Like,
yeah,
I know what Carolina is. And when it's clicking, it can look pretty good. Is it okay to say that I still don't know what this NC State team is? Even though metrics-wise, they're pretty freaking good. And I feel like we have now entered, you talked about the hurry up and wait situation, right? I think we finally hit that point this week with NC State. We're finally at the point with NC State's season where we're going to find out whether or not all the problem solving that we've been discussing with Will Wade will come to fruition and bear success, bear some fruit in what'll be a very difficult final 9 games of the season for the Wolfpack. Going on the road and smoking Wake Forest is good, okay? Good.
Yeah.
Shout out to our OG mailbag caller who was talking about Paul McNeil. Say, hey, man, this guy's an X factor. And I got what your point was, that he needs to be more consistent. Well, buddy, he was on fire against Wake Forest. And then that ends up being a Q1 win for now for NC State because Wake Forest is in the top 75 net. It's a road game. They win. That becomes a Q1. Although that can be subject to change because as I'm looking at Ken Palm right now, that would be a tier of joy B category because Wake Forest is outside that top 75 in his metrics, the Ken Palm. They're currently a 79 right now. So I bring this up not to take away from NC State. I bring this up to illustrate that a lot of these wins along the way have been some like taking care of business, don't screw it up levels of games. And to do it on the road makes it even better. That's where the most impressive part has been because winning on the road, as we know, regardless of level, regardless of how good we think the ACC is, winning on the road is always going to get extra value. So in the back of some people's minds, you still see that Georgia Tech loss, right? In the back of some people's minds, they still see a good team in Virginia coming to your building and making you look like you are on completely different planets.
Unprepared.
Completely unprepared.
Uninterested, unprepared.
For the first half of that game. So now all of the semantics of, well, are you a Q1 right now? Is it going to drop to a Q2? Or you played this good team, but you got handled in that Virginia game. All that now goes out the window to see just how far they've come along. All the Will Wade stuff, which I want to get to in a second in terms of the quote unquote, all the Will Wade stuff. Because the rest of the way with a road game at SMU, a good Virginia Tech team coming home, you got to go to Louisville. Miami has been sneaky solid this season. Not a lot of people paying attention to Jay Lucas in his first year at Miami, but they've been pretty good this year, all things considered. And then you've got that North Carolina, Virginia, Duke thing coming on down the line that can really change how you think about the season. So this last 9 games for NC State will be the true litmus test for where Will Wade has brought this team so far this season.
I think you're closer to their identity in the first half of the Wake Forest game. Just as you say, hey, in the back of your mind, you might think, there's that Georgia Tech game. Mm-hmm. Still and even Will Wade says it still bothers them that they lost that game because of the way that they played.
It should.
But then you have the yin to that yang is the first half of that Wake game. 49 points, hitting all of those threes, creating open shots, knocking down those open shots, only allowing Wake Forest to score 31 points, really being aggressive and asserting the pace of play, asserting their will, making the other team play that the way that Will Wade wants to play. Those are your 20 minutes. Second half of that game, you could say, well, Wake had to be better than they were in the first half. So they still have a pulse, right? Maybe. That was not it. I had big 2017 vibes. Remember when State went there and lost by 30 and Yeah, there was a phone call from Mark Godfrey that day. That was, I don't know if she's going to fire me, but I know if she could hire Archie, she will. And I was like, I don't think it's a matter of who she can hire.
Yeah, Mark, I think you're done. There's that local media again.
Lost by 30, buddy.
There's that local media again, Joe.
Yeah. But I think the first half of that game is where you go back to the preseason, off season. This is the roster I put together. Darian Williams making shots, Paul McNeil making shots, Quadir Copeland, creating, Van Allen Lubin being a presence in the middle. These are all, Trey Holloman's more of like this steadying defensive nuisance, a pest who can kind of get you going a little bit. Arsenault, same way, get a little nuisance, a little pest on the wing, can help you create some things defensively. Those are all the things that they want to be, and they were for those 20 minutes. We saw that at Florida State as well. There's been other flashes and glimpses of that. Second half against Kansas, I would say, is another one of those where you're looking at it going, okay, this is who we could be. And I think that's good for NC State. But again, I kind of wonder what it all amounts to for both Carolina and State and really every ACC team not named Duke.
Yeah.
Like we're
going to find out.
You watch some of these, like the team no one's really talking about. UConn is the team right now.
You're back on that.
Who is starting to look like, are they going to do this again?
Well, the same thing could be said about Florida.
Florida doesn't have the guards. Florida is the definition of, hey, we really don't want to play them.
Yeah.
But they don't have guard. Like somebody who could make shots. Like you watch, they'll play a Vanderbilt. They'll play a Nebraska or a St. Louis. They'll play one of these like super high offensive end teams and they'll lose because they're not going to be able to trade paint with them.
All right. So let me ask you this question before we move on to housekeeping. Specific to NC State, and I don't know, maybe we can talk about it more as the week goes on. Maybe this is a classic OG sports phone call to action. Would we be talking about NC State differently? They're top 4 in the ACC right now. They've won on the road a bunch. What's the school mark on that? Like, aren't they? Like, I thought I saw some sort of like they haven't done this since ...
Sure.
Right? Like right now, NC State, and they're 23 in Ken Palm right now. Probably get ranked as the season, as we get closer to the end of the season, all that kind of stuff. If we were to remove all of the peripheral around Will Wade, I'm talking about coming in hot with the Reckoning stuff and Jimmy V cosplay and slobbering wolf debates and yelling at you so he could send a message that I got your back, Darion Williams, and I have to see that fucking clip a bazillion freaking times now every time NC State plays basketball, right? Please just put courtesy of OG Media. That's all I ask. We could use the promotion, right?
Well, yeah, you'd be ecstatic
that all away.
You'd be ecstatic that a team that went 5-15 and missed the ACC tournament last year, is now 7-2 and in position to be in the NCAA tournament this year.
So, if you strip all that away, do you think we're talking about this differently with NC State?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's my curiosity. That is my curiosity, and I wouldn't be so because I've seen this. Will Wade talks about, or he talked about it at his introductory press conference, all singing from the same page. Okay. And that obviously meant the school, the money, the coaching staff, all that in alignment to put together a good basketball program. And he's right about that. But the one thing that I found interesting in the first time that I've seen so far this season is that there's been some level of alignment or some attempt at alignment to get behind the basketball program from media that covers NC State. And when I say media, there's levels to media.
Sure.
Right? Like, I think it's kind of ironic that you and me doing this podcast as an independent outlet, we're probably like the last bit of mainstream left, if that makes sense.
Okay. Like, you mean independent? Like, we're not we don't need them for recruiting help to sell subscriptions.
Sure. Yeah, like we would still be considered legacy media, even though we are not attached to a legacy media outlet. You and I were both formed in legacy media, so we still operate while also incorporating new stuff, but we still operate from the mindset of what you would consider legacy media. And it's not what you would describe as somebody at NC State referred to it as enthusiast media, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like the Pack Insider account or some fans, the Burnerverse and all that kind of stuff.
Shout out to Lou.
Yeah, shout out to Lou. Where I understand what they're doing. They are fan enthusiast media. It is in their best interest for NC State to succeed. the people that are going to their Instagram account to promote them, it's all really, really positive stuff. And we're here for the cause. And I've not seen that before at NC State. Well, I've not seen that in a long time at NC State. I'm trying to think the last time where everything was necessarily aligned around basketball. Can you remember a time where everything was aligned on basketball in that regard?
Because Herb was never that type of personality that we're going to give anybody the warm and fuzzies.
Aha. So that gets to the flip side of this. How do we talk about NC State if we don't have all that peripheral stuff that distracts from the fact that this team has found its mooring and that Will Wade is a really good coach who has had a roster, didn't pan out the way he thought it was going to pan out, and he's doing what good coaches do. I'm coaching the team I have rather than the team that I thought I had.
We won't have as many misses in the portal next year.
Dude.
Apparently we need to just pull up a chair and go to the pit every Thursday.
Do you want to go to the pit on Thursday? Because
we're missing out on some bangers.
Yeah, apparently Will Wade said I don't see a lot of these guys coming back. I'm paraphrasing here.
Right.
But essentially what he was saying was, you can expect to not see some of these guys back. Like, damn. All right.
Yeah.
And he said that on the coach's show.
Yeah.
Hell, man. I feel like we should get Matt Chazanow in here because Chazanow's been getting all the gold.
Not allowed, right?
Right.
A certain employee. No, Jeff Gravely's not allowed because
Gravely's not. He's a university
employee.
He's a university employee, but Chaz can come on. And Chaz has had some bangers.
Oh.
Whether it's the pregame audio, right?
Yeah.
Remember that one at the beginning of the season?
Yes.
And then now at the coach's show, right? So yes, maybe we do have to go to the pit on Thursday and hang out. I'm sure Greg will love that.
Just go to the pit anyway.
You're right, because they have great food. So this gets to the flip side of this. I hope people are following where I'm going with this. Is Will Wade's personality necessary for what we're seeing at NC State, for people like Lou and others to be in the alignment game with NC State basketball, where everybody's on the same page to promote the program and look at the positives rather than the conflicting agendas that we have seen? Keats, Gottfried, Lowe, Sednek. You see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
So that his personality is such that it gets people to absolutely, man, we're in.
I think first couple of years of the God, man, I think there was more. We're closest to that. Is where we are, I would say. Especially that first year. Remember, they didn't beat anybody. And then they got in. It was a little bit of a miracle that they got in. And then they got to the Sweet 16. It was like, whoa.
But that was their personality. Their personality was the last team in type thing. That's not what Will Wade is trying to do.
No, he does not want to be that.
He does not want to be that. He wants to be comfortably in. He wants to make noise in the NCAA tournament. He wants to disrupt the ACC. So it gets back to that central question. I can ask, hey, do we look at this team differently without the peripheral stuff, or is the peripheral stuff the design? It's not a bug.
Yeah.
It is the design, and it works. It certainly has people involved, right? You're certainly paying attention all the time, right?
You're about to get blamed for their loss on Tuesday at SMU, but
in what sense?
You're saying too many nice things.
Oh, is that what it is? No, but that's what you're supposed to do.
Wasn't that football this year? Remember, you were like, they should absolutely start popping up.
They should. I'm sorry. But that's football.
And then the immediate phone call was
no. But that's football.
This is all your fault.
No, that's football. That's a different mindset. Football's a different mindset.
Different coach.
No. Different mindset, different coach. It gets back to the alignment thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I find it kind of interesting. Anyway. Of course, we do not have lines for our Super Bowl, which is the Carolina-Duke game on Saturday, which we'll have an After Dark for. You're not participating in this After Dark?
No, it is Jackson's 18th birthday.
Kind of important.
So I've got a dinner reservation for Saturday night, actually during the game.
Okay.
So the game is in Chapel Hill on Saturday?
I believe so, yeah.
Right now, it should be, according to Ken Palm, Duke favored by 6.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at.
Lines are subject to change, obviously, but that's our Super Bowl. We'll have an After Dark for that. But then there's
Alex Nunnally is in.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, he will join you. He's excited to work with the real Joe. So. The Radio Row Super Bowl credentialed Joe.
We've got actual Super Bowl 60, ladies and gentlemen, and Super Bowl 60 deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. I think I'm coming over to the house on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Because I just want to see you live and die with every Super Bowl square, national anthem. I was actually reading a study about people's moods as it relates to these types of things, and I felt like you were a case study for it.
Yeah, potentially.
But either way, I cannot wait to show up to your house and show you all of the ridiculous parlays that I put $5 gang on the DraftKings app. I mean, heck, even LeBron James has his Super Bowl picks, Joe.
Let's go.
So he's got a parlay plus 850 with Seattle to win.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs to score a touchdown. JSN to score a touchdown. All sorts of some goodies here. Premier Pros. Stephen A's got one. All sorts of
That's
stuff, right?
With ESPN.
With ESPN now, right? So all sorts of crazy stuff, right? And right now, again, lines, odds, subject to change. The Seahawks are a 4.5-point favorite with Sam Darnold, your odds-on favorite to be the Super Bowl MVP, followed by Drake May at plus 235. Again, lines, odds, subject to change. I still think New England's going to win.
Okay.
Mostly because...
Why not? The horseshoe that's permanently lodged up their ass is going to come home again.
Yeah, I think that's why. I think that's what's going to happen.
I mean,
I think that's what's going to happen.
Perfectly
also
sound logic.
Honestly, my whole angle to this is what would make Bill Belichick's week even worse. The Patriots winning with the quarterback.
I feel like he already bottomed out last week.
No, dude.
Didn't he?
No. I think New England winning would be the bottom out for that sort of thing, with Drake May no less. Regardless, DraftKings. Anything can happen in the Super Bowl, man. Anything. And DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. And if you're new to DraftKings, perfect week to sign up. New customers, bet $5 and you will get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Again, new customer, use the promo code OG25. You bet $5, you'll get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that code OG25. Again, that's OG25 to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Mikey B's got the secret stash going. It is fantastic. We've got new designs going up here relatively soon, including the Forever Grateful. I told him, like, dude, we need that Forever Grateful now because we are in Forever Grateful season. I mean, we're talking about Carolina, right? If things go south this week, they lose to Duke, they get swept by Duke, they have an early exit, we could be back in Forever Grateful mode. So
are we in Forever Grateful mode for Continental and Cooper Flag?
In what sense?
Yeah, those two put on a show last week.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, our Duke fans forever grateful for their 1 year together that,
of course,
ended in the Final Four.
Of course. The Duke basketball account's been active, referring to them as alumni.
They seem to understand that. Yeah. Hey, promote the guys who are doing really well in the pros. That's what you should be doing.
What a concept. What a concept. Just like we're promoting Mikey P. Go to the secret stash, theog.shop. Again, that's theog.shop. OG Light is available at RDU. Maybe you're taking a flight. You got spring break coming up.
You didn't deliver the tap handle.
I got to see Wit here soon. As Ken pointed out, a snow beer is better than airport beer. Also, time I learned the term dry slot. We all learned about the dry slot this weekend in terms of weather. So yeah, I see Ken's got the OG Light. We don't use the metric system because we're red-blooded Americans that don't use the metric system. We use better systems like how deep was the can of beer in my backyard? 3 inches. We got 3 inches of snow in the backyard. That beer hit when the Canes game came on, though. Bad boy was cold and ready to go at 3 o'clock. Really enjoyed it. So anyway, go get yourself some OG Light. You can get it at RDU at Bond Brothers. You can also get it at our friends Longleaf Swine. Check them out online at longleafswine.com. Speaking of the snow, you didn't go out, did you?
In the snow?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't do anything?
No, I covered the hockey game yesterday.
How was the crowd for that?
Well, it was fantastic. 14,000 people, according to my sources.
Actual 14,000 people showed up?
Yeah, because they were not staffed for.
Oh, I see. Well, speaking of which, this was, I went to the downtown Publix on Friday. This was destiny. Like there was one cart left.
Honestly, I thought that was a Delaware urinal wall.
That was not the Delaware urinal wall. That was.
I was so confused when you posted it.
I get to the downtown Publix. I go to that Publix all the time, and there's always carts. I've never seen it like this. But on a Friday night before a snowstorm, literally one cart.
You don't live that far from the Wegmans. Why do you go to?
It just happens to be where. So
weird.
The Publix.
You like Publix? I don't mind Publix. They have great sandwiches.
You got to remember.
But it's kind of weird. Like it's like going to the mall.
You got to remember that I grew up in South Florida.
Okay.
So
I have an anchor.
I have an affinity for Publix.
Okay.
Also, the kids wanted pub subs.
Understood.
They also like the popcorn chicken. The breading that Publix uses has a little sweetness to it, which the kids like.
Okay.
So I was basically loading up on, because I didn't know when we were going to be out of the house. Yeah. So I was loading up on a bunch of goodies. That's why I ended up going to the Publix. Now, we ended up getting the snow, and we're going to talk to Greg Fishel here in a second. I ended up getting the snow. Ended up going to Dorothea Dix yesterday.
You did?
Yes. So the kids, it was a rare instance in which I asked the kids, because Jacob went out, the younger one. He's like, the sledding kind of sucks. I go, yeah, because that kind of snow, you got to do it on grass. You cannot do it on the street because you're just going to fall through and grind the flexible flyer. This wasn't like the previous week with the ice, which made for good sledding on the flexible flyer down the street. Okay. So I said,
my back just,
I know.
Wait,
it gets better.
My L5 S1 just compressed.
Oh, wait, it gets better. So I asked the kids, do you want to go to Dorothea Dix? Roads seem clear enough that we can drive out there.
Yeah, the main roads have been perfect. They did a really good job, I thought.
So we ended up going out to Dorothea Dix, and they got
to the Department of Transportation.
Yes, great job.
Really good job.
So we went out there. They got on the flexible flyer. Shout out to Kat Campbell, Slay all day. I appreciated that. So the kids went down double time. Jacob, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like the sled itself. Maybe he's got better skills. I have no idea. He blew past Caleb down the hill. After he got cut off. So I'm filming the kids and they're having a good time, whatever. They did a couple runs. And I had some listeners walk by and they're like, you going to talk about this on the podcast? And I said, I wasn't until I started to see the collection of things that people were using to sled.
Oh.
I started making a mental note and I started writing them all down. My favorite were the people that just made trash bag suits and body surfed down the hills at Dorothea Dix. I saw baking sheets.
Yeah.
I saw cafeteria trays. Clearly, those people were NC State students.
Okay.
Because I remember that.
I gotta have access to a cafeteria tray to have an
Yes, because I remember people using cafeteria trays at NC State when we had that snow in 2000. Paddleboard. I saw somebody's paddleboard out there.
Wouldn't that ruin the paddleboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't care.
Okay.
I saw boogie boards. I used to do that on a boogie board. Tubes.
Yeah.
Snowboards, skis, laundry.
There wasn't enough for skis.
If you looked at the end of that clip of the kids, there was a guy who had just gotten down that hill skiing.
Wow.
Snowboard, skis, laundry basket.
Yeah. Laundry basket's a go-to.
Trash lids.
Yep.
I've seen that. Some people took the parking signs, like you can't park here. Took those and went down.
Right.
Hey, man, Southern snow. You'll find anything and everything to go down a hill. It was pretty impressive. Very, very impressive. So you're doing all this stuff and you're wondering, man, that sounds like a liability. You're right. That's all a liability, which is why you need our guy, Matt Davis, State Farm. You got a hill.
That was well done.
You got a hill that people might want to sled down. You might need an insurance policy
You
for
got
that.
a hill you want to die on.
You know who could write up a policy for you? Matt Davis. So hit him up. InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. Again, that's 919-779-8277. You can also financially plan. You know what I was wearing while I was at Dorothea Dix watching the kids sled?
Yeah, your stolen valor rowback that was not supposed to be yours. Yes. Uh-huh.
What do you mean stolen valor rowback?
Who do you think the 2X is for? It's not for you.
I mean, it's perfect for those conditions. Okay. I was also wearing the pants too, the stretchy pants. So I forgot which one.
You don't have like winter pants?
No, I decided
Snow
I
pants?
don't.
Or like
fit,
a- something that-
I do not fit in them anymore.
Okay.
So I wore long johns and then I wore my rowback
Over.
athletic pants over that.
Okay.
Hey man,
Better than jeans, but
better than jeans
yeah.
and super comfortable, stretchy.
You're not a Costco guy, are you?
No, I shop at Costco.
You do?
I just don't buy Costco clothes.
That's all I have, man.
Really?
Costco and Rowback. I have like nothing in between
Kirkland and Rowback.
because Costco has amazing winter pants.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They have lined pants.
Well, you know who has amazing pants, comfortable pants, and as you said, stolen valor tops?
Mm-hmm.
Rowback. Check them
Yeah.
out. Rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20.
Mine is right here, which
I have
is
a blue
black.
one.
I'm supposed to have the blue one.
Well, what size is that?
2X, my size.
Well, I also have a 2X
My size.
that now smells like fire pit because that's what I usually wear while I have a
Yeah.
gummy and sip on bourbon
No, I'm
with
actually.
neighbor Rick.
I have decided. I'll communicate with Ben.
Yeah.
We'll get a plain one that we get to put one of our patches on.
Okay.
That's
That
what I
works.
want.
That works. So go to rowback.com. Use
I'll
that
get
promo
you your
code
actual size.
OG20. Do you want to live at a place that is near hills so you can sled? Tell that to Hometown Realty.
Take care
myhtr.com.
of you.
Again, that's myhtr.com. They will find the perfect place for you, even new construction, and give you ideas as to what those builder incentives are so you can take advantage of it. And then
Well, they're also still doing their Hometown Hero
check it out.
campaign each month. It's February, new month, so we'll have new winners at their 5 different locations. Go to that website, Hometown Hero. That's an E there, hometownhero.com.
So Caleb comes out from his goon cave playing video games and enough time to see that it has snowed and the sun is out and it's very, very bright. And he says to me, wow, it's like a permanent flashbang. I'm like, man, you have been playing a lot of video games during your time off from school. I don't know, maybe apply to a college. That would be helpful, which we made him do on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I'm like, yeah, deadline's today. Go apply. So anyway, as he walks out, he talks about it being so bright. It's like a flashbang went off in here. I thought to myself, blinds. Could have used them with all that reflective snow and the sun.
That's why Vincent has his
He's got sunglasses.
sunglasses on.
So hit him up. Bloomin' Blinds, blinds.com or 919-980-9815. Saw Chris, because the hockey dad life never stops, even in the snow.
Doesn't.
I saw Chris on Saturday. He was at the rink like all day. I was talking about how things are going. I'm like, they're staying busy. And I'm glad that our listeners are helping him stay busy.
Good.
So hit him up, bloominblinds.com. Again, that's bloominblinds.com.
And you'll have an After Dark on Saturday, thanks to our friends at Bloom Blinds.
Now, speaking of busy, Brassfield is busy. It is peak busy season for Chris Brassfield right now, and he wants to make sure that you're taken care of. So hit up brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com.
Speaking of which, we're having a meeting.
we're having a meeting. Hold on a second. Let me write one. We are having a meeting.
We need to line up Chris in Alaska to talk about their new tax options that they have.
Okay.
But he's in Alaska, and you know I'm not good at setting things up like 7 bazillion hours behind us.
Isn't Alaska only like 3 hours behind us?
I don't know. I think it's 5, but I don't.
Is it 5? Okay.
I don't know. So
I don't know either.
we got to coordinate because we got to get Chris on this program to promote all the great things that Brassfield Accounting has, and probably to we should get him on a call with his guy Mike Maniscalco too, so he can have a little love.
Quad box might be tricky, but we'll try it.
Okay.
So in the meantime, what's not tricky? Doing taxes for you, making sure all your paperwork's right. That is Brassfield Accounting, a fractional CFO. Check them out online at brassfieldaccounting.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Raleigh, North Carolina weather legend. He is Greg Fishel, joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Greg, what's going on, man? Long time no talk.
I'll tell you, I mean, it has to be probably 8-9 years at least since we've spoken.
You and I have communicated via text every so often, but we actually have not talked since we were at the old place. So it's good to catch up. And I was thinking to myself as my kids are looking outside going, where the hell is the snow?
Right.
As Kelly, my wife, is looking at the radar saying, are you serious right now? We've got this dry alley. Like, come on now. What's going on here? And of course, the whole entire time I'm just thinking to myself, and the internet's thinking, yes, it's the Raleigh Weather Dome. So I thought to myself, who would understand the Raleigh Weather Dome better than Greg Fishel to explain what the fuck happens every time we want some snow? We're usually the ones that are on that line. So what is up with the Raleigh Weather Dome? Is it a real thing or not?
I don't think it is. Now, I will say this, when it comes to precipitation type, there is a definite average position for the rain snow line.
Okay.
But that wasn't an issue with this. I mean, we knew it was going to be snow. But the thing about it is, and we were not alone on Saturday. I mean, Fayetteville, they didn't have anything all day long. But there were two, and I'll try to keep this simple. You have to make the air go up to get precipitation. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so there was an area to the west that was going up, area to the east that was going up, and we were in the middle with nothing. And we had plenty of moisture. That was not an issue. The air was not dry. It's just that it wasn't going up, and so you didn't get any precip.
And you predicted all of this, though.
No,
that was my text thread. No. Independent of anyone that you know. My Garner guys in their 30s were all like, "Well, Fishel had it on Tuesday." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, we're talking to him." So yeah.
I said that I thought the heavy hitting would come late Saturday and Saturday night, and that turned out to be fine. But I thought we'd get something during the day on Saturday, and we didn't. So I will be accountable for that. It was not perfect.
So, okay, hold on a second. I want to go back to the Raleigh Weather Dome.
Sure.
You can't sit here and tell me it's not real, Greg. You cannot sit here and tell me that the Raleigh Weather Dome isn't real. I've seen the graphics. I've seen the radar. I see a perfect circle over Raleigh. I see in the summer when we're supposed to get rain, it's raining in Cary. It's raining in Durham. And then all of a sudden, it stops raining over Raleigh. And then it picks back up again over Garner. Like, I don't understand. So come on, man. Greg, I've seen it with my own eyes.
But now, if it was a circular dome like that, then wouldn't Fayetteville have been snowing on Saturday and we weren't?
So why do you think there's this phenomenon that people are convinced there's a Raleigh Weather Dome?
I'm guilty of this too. Okay, I'm going to confess that is that we remember the times that the facts confirmed our theory, and we sort of shoved to the side all the times that it doesn't. And it's an easy thing to do. But I think if you went back and actually studied it, you would find a lot of times when it was raining in both Raleigh and Cary, and we're just not remembering those right now.
Oh wait, confirmation bias is a real thing. Who knew?
Oh gosh,
confirmation bias was a real thing.
So we've lived parallel lives, right?
Yeah.
But just when you're saying this about Raleigh and weather, it's the same reason that we enjoy covering sports so much in the Triangle, because it is unique.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
There's nowhere else in the country like it. So particularly on the college side, right? So Greg, you get these hurricanes, we get these weird winter things that who the heck knows what they really are. And it's totally unpredictable. So I have to feel like you feel like all these years you could tell the story of the storms while we tell the stories on Mike Krzyzewski and Smith and Roy Williams. Oh, I remember that time, and Fran, and then the snowstorm of 2000.
That one always comes up,
right? Like, so I feel like we have literally lived these parallel lives working for these media companies, and the passion that we have for this area is kind of our Predator meme kind of coming together.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was going to mention, that there was a foreshadowing event that went on in my life in 1974, and I didn't realize what it was at the time. But back in the late 60s and early 70s, UCLA won the national basketball championship every year. And I got sick of them. And I kept waiting for a basketball messiah to come along and knock these guys off. And so when State did in 74, I sort of, had a little bit of loyalty to them, having no clue that I would end up most of my adult life right across the street from that university. And I still somewhere have a yellow piece of tablet paper that has the names of all the players in that game and a hash mark next to their name every time they scored a basket. And I have to find that. That was 1974.
So you were keeping score, watching it on TV?
Yep. And, it didn't take long to channel surf back then. You only had about 3 options.
You said, I'm sorry, did you say yellow tablet paper?
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about parallel lives, Joe. You were on the nose on that one. Joe has nothing but yellow pad, man. Nothing but yellow pad.
Yeah. That's really kind of... Did you work in any other markets?
Salisbury, Maryland was my first TV job.
Okay.
And, the GM, it was a startup station, and the highest rating we ever had at 6 o'clock was a 2 share.
Oh, gee.
So,
but let me stylize this for people who don't know the business. That's really bad. That's not great. That's not great. Not a lot of people watching at that point.
Every 6 months, somebody would recognize me.
Hey, well, what's interesting, getting back to how things are consumed now, right? So, Joe's making reference to that blizzard that we had back in 2000.
Yeah.
Right? And like there was a rate of snow that we had never seen before. And what ends up happening, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, and if you have any thoughts on how to kind of control it best we can, what people will fall victim to this is shaping up like what we saw in 2000, ... You're looking at all these models and things like that. And then I'll see it when I log on to Facebook. I'll see it when I log on to Instagram. The algorithm now feeds you things that are dated. It's not in real time. These are things that are a couple days old. And then you see it, you think it's new information, and then you post it and you think that's what's going to happen. And you're not keeping up with what meteorologists like you or others are saying that are constantly giving you new information as the models come in. But the last thing you saw was maybe 2 days ago that said that we're going to get 18 inches of snow. Right? So is there any way to combat that? Is it, rather than getting mad at meteorologists for quote unquote getting it wrong, shouldn't you as the consumer maybe do a little bit better job of consuming the news?
Well, that's a great point, but it's funny you bring it up, or interesting, because I had somebody message me the other day. He said, could you put a timestamp on your post so that we know, when you put that out? And I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if you look at somebody's Facebook post, whether or not it automatically tells you when it was posted or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I've started adding the date and the time to the thing so that, then I can't be held accountable for that. But no, you're right. And the other thing, is that there's a lot of misinformation out there. I mean, I saw a guy the other day post a 309-hour model forecast that showed a huge snowstorm along the Gulf Coast. And he said, well, this is not my forecast. This is just a model. Well, why are you showing it? To get attention, right?
Yeah.
And to get more clicks and make more money. So I just think that's unfortunate, but nobody holds them accountable for it. I mean, they just move on to the next one.
A lot of living parallel lives. Misinformation. What? Incorrect guesses? No.
there's a burner verse for sports, and there's also rogue weather people just trying to get the engagement.
Right.
We are noticing a pattern here, Joe. You might be on to something. You might be on to something. Who knows?
So are we really getting another
Wednesday?
More nonsense this week?
At least the way this looks to me is that it would start off as rain and might end as a little bit of light snow or flurries, but it is not of the magnitude of the event that we just went through. Not that that was cataclysmic, but it was significant. And right now I don't see that happening, but it's worth keeping an eye on.
One thing too that I know you would say all the time is the later we get into the waning hours of winter and we get to spring, that sun hits differently too. Again, this is another one of those things that makes North Carolina kind of unique in terms of where we are. So we might get an event, but the turnaround time for this stuff to melt is getting a lot quicker if we get anything going forward, right?
Yes. Although I will say, February 18th, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. 1979, they got about a foot in Raleigh, and the high temperature that day was 14. So those sort of weird things, can happen. There was a time, though, in late March, I think it was 83 or 84, that I was working mornings, and we had 6 inches of snow on a Thursday, and I was supposed to give a talk at a school in Wake Forest on Friday.
Yeah.
They canceled all the schools because of the snow. And by noon on Friday, it was like sunny and 60. Okay. And I'm running up to the school, completely forgetting that they're closed. And I get there to an empty parking lot. So my memory was starting to go to pot even back then.
Yeah, well, there you go. And also that sounds very North Carolina, where schools are closed and you're looking around going, why did you close school today? But I get it. They have a different kind of job.
Boy, also, I was not familiar with county-wide school systems. Where I grew up, we had districts within the county, and each one had autonomy on whether or not they were going to open or close. And so in Wake County, if there was one bad road anywhere in the county, everybody shuts down. And I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying I wasn't familiar with that till I moved here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. It's definitely different. And I had to learn that too, as to like, I'm clear here. Why in the world are they canceling school? And then, my kids go to a magnet school as well. So that also adds to, where everybody's coming from. It's not a neighborhood school. That makes things a little bit difficult to assess. All right, man. Well, we appreciate the time. Good catching up. I couldn't get you to bite on the weather dome. I'm kind of sad that you didn't the weather dome. It's fine. But, sometimes you still believe in things, just like I know you still believe in the Braves. I know you haven't. You're not off that, are you?
The Braves are a nemesis to me.
I know you're a Mets guy.
Yes.
I forgot you're the Mets guy.
Hey, did you hear about the woman who had identical twins? You know what's coming.
Greg, I missed this. I have missed this. I have not heard of the woman who had identical twins.
Well, their names were Juan and Amal, but she only had one picture in her pocketbook, because when you've seen Juan, you've seen them all. I'm sorry.
The dad jokes are back.
Yes. There's another one if you have time.
Hey, it's a podcast. We have all the time.
And this is not a true story. It's just a funny story. Did you hear about the local barber who got arrested for selling drugs?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I was a customer for 6 years, and I had no clue he was a barber. Not true, just funny.
I mean, hey, look, I'll go ahead and I'll pull this up. Speaking of TV, I know Giglio, you saw this. Speaking of jokes, I have to give Sharon Delaney a lot of props on this one. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Where she referred to this dry area as how else can you explain it other than menopause? So maybe Raleigh's got menopause, I guess.
I don't know what to say.
Aha, see? You got the jokes, and we got you at the end.
Yes, you did.
You're speechless. I love it. Hey, Greg, we appreciate the time as always. We'll have to do this again. I feel like there's some other North Carolina weather phenomenon we can explore down the line.
Absolutely. No, it's great to see you and hear your voice.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. See ya.
Speaking of lightning, hell, I should have asked this to Fishel now that I think about it. Of course, the outdoor game in Tampa where they accounted for 70-degree weather didn't actually happen, and they ended up getting record cold weather. And
it's like 37 or something like that?
Yeah, I think face-off was like 43 degrees or whatever it was. And I thought it was hilarious that after all this concern about keeping the ice cold enough to function in Tampa, they had to use the heater.
I'm glad that was your takeaway. I had a different takeaway.
What was your takeaway
from that game? Finally, you and I, simpatico. We finally, our people, my people, and your people finally had a moment with that outdoor game and John Cooper and his getup. Finally.
So if you're watching on YouTube, this is from the official Tampa Bay Lightning account. Aura farming, because you have to speak the language of the youths.
Yes.
Aura farming is something that was said in 2024. I think the kids have probably moved on from that, but that's neither here nor there. So Cooper, the head coach of the Lightning, who's I think the longest tenured coach in the NHL right now.
John Cooper, yeah, 2-time Stanley Cup champion.
Dressed up as Al Pacino and Scarface.
Yes. Tony Montana.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't believe me? Well, this is what he looked like for the game, with a cigar, a hat,
the
fly collar, with
chains.
the cream pinstripe double-breasted suit. I was like,
Mhm.
where have I seen this before? Because on the broadcast, they were talking about, it's a little nod to Tampa's gangster era, mafia era, and all that stuff. Like, no,
Mm-mm.
he's dressing up like Tony in Scarface. Don't believe me? Well, let's go to this movie still of when Tony meets with the Colombians to make sure that the cocaine's flowing. It's the same damn suit.
Our cultures finally are in alignment, because I thought my people were the last that you were allowed to make fun of. No. You're allowed to now make fun of the Cubans in Tampa because checks notes, John Cooper and his staff, they like to go to Ybor City and get cigars.
This is the quote.
So this was an homage
Yeah.
to the Cuban community.
Yeah.
And of course, that's Al Pacino, the Italian,
Mhm.
cosplaying as a Cuban drug dealer.
And not just any Cuban, a Mariel boat lift, had
That's
to
right.
spend time in the Orange Bowl Miami Cuban,
That's right.
who then chainsawed a man
To get out
on Ocean Drive.
in a hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. Motel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from the NHL website. Tampa is known for having a strong Cuban community. This is true. Ybor City in Tampa is one of the first major Cuban hubs in the United States, dating back to the 1800s. Yes, there's a lot of arguments as to where the Cuban sandwich originated from.
Oh, I did not know this.
The Cuban sandwich technically originated in Key West. It was not called a Cuban sandwich.
Sure.
It was not invented in Cuba, but it was in Key West as a way for guys to have a quick lunch while they were rolling cigars. And then eventually made its way up to Tampa, where in Ybor City, they roll a lot of cigars. Now, the Tampa Bay Cuban's a little bit different than the South Florida Key West Cuban. The key difference, believe it or not, is salami.
I was going to say, is this like you explaining Discord to me right now?
Yes. So the Cuban sandwich is really just a glorified ham and cheese.
Sure.
Okay. It's just a glorified ham and cheese. But where the Tampa Cuban's different, like if you go to La Segunda Bakery in Tampa, just outside Ybor City, one of the best Cuban sandwiches you can get, it has salami on top of the pulled pork and the ham slices.
So what I hear you saying is, again, our cultures are combining.
Yes,
Salami,
they are.
That's the meat of my people. Yes.
All I need is some gabagool version of it. I'm good to go. So this is from John Cooper. A tip of the cap, no pun intended, to the heritage of Tampa and our staff. We've been known to hit Ybor City a little bit and smoke some cigars as a little staff outing. We thought it was apropos to kind of go down that road, and then it grew. It grew into gold chains and canes and rings. This event doesn't come around very often either. It was part of it. It was a ton of fun. And again, man, you are not dressed as a Tampa Bay area, Ybor City cigar rolling Cuban. My dude, you thought Scarface was a great fucking movie, and I wanted to dress up like Al Pacino. Say hello to my little friend. Okay? That's what you wanted. Put that back in your mouth, man. You look like a lizard. That's what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to do. Just say it. Just say it. The only thing missing from the pictures is John Cooper at his desk coming up for air after hitting some snow, hitting the powder. That's the only thing missing, right?
Please tell me they played Take It to the Limit at some point when they took it to the
Honestly, they should have taken it to the
commercial
limit.
break.
They should have taken it to the limit when the goalies fought.
I watched that game. Well, after it was 5-1, I watched that game.
Yeah.
It was a very entertaining game. There was a goalie fight. There was all these goals. There was all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of flashbacks, though, to playoffs past, because you had Boston, you had Pasternak running around.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man. And then it was Tampa on the power play. Remember all those years Tampa eliminated the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes truly had no chance of competing with them. And then I was like, man, I'm in my feels. But the second period where Tampa was on the power play, the entirety of the period, and everyone's like, the announcers are like, this is the greatest outdoor game ever, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I mean, it's a spectacle.
It's a spectacle.
No doubt. But like, as far as like hockey goes, not to be a hockey knower here.
It's not why you're watching the game.
Like, I really 5-on-3 for like 20 minutes? Like, no, this is not great hockey.
It's a spectacle right down to the pregame where Steve Levy is referring. They had to do the whole crossover thing. They went to the Magic Kingdom, and I thought it was hilarious that Steve Levy was referring to it as Magic Kingdom Park. That had to trigger all the Disney adults out there.
Oh,
and then you also had PK Subban going down
just about to tell
Pirates
you.
of the Caribbean, freaking out, just
No.
absolutely freaking out, dressed like a pirate. The only thing missing from the whole thing was Jake and the Neverland Pirates cameo for the whole Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing.
The true crossover was when they brought out PK Subban, Pat McAfee style.
Oh, gee.
When they were trying to raise money
Yeah.
for cancer research in Tampa. I believe it was for the Moffitt Center with the USF AD. And all of a sudden, like PK Subban comes out like he's Pat McAfee, like, no, it's not going to be 100,000. It's going to be 1 million. All you got to do is make this the old puck in the coin slot trick. And I was like, really? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
ESPN?
Yeah.
No new ideas. Hey, get a hotline. Okay.
Curse or don't.
Curse or don't.
Curse or don't. Speaking of cursing, I wanted to curse when I saw Tom Wilson raise his arm,
Saturday up in
And-
Washington.
knock Logan Stankoven the hell out. Okay. And I'm not here to debate whether or not that was a clean hit. I know that there are some old school knuckle dragging hockey people out there that believe that that was on Logan Stankoven, head on a swivel, buddy, head on a swivel.
Plus, you know, the height differential.
Oh God, if I have to hear about the height, well, what's he supposed to do? He's a short guy. No, go watch the replays. Fairly obvious what Tom Wilson was doing. He was doing Tom Wilson things. All right. So I'm not here for the debate as to whether it was a clean hit or not, Tom Wilson antics and things like that. To channel my Tony Montana, I'm sorry. You took one of my guys out. It's now time to fight. I'm watching goalies fight. Canes, guys. This, I hate that I get like this about this particular topic in relation to the Carolina Hurricanes, but we are facing a second round exit for the Carolina Hurricanes against a feisty team that understands that they're not going to fight back, that they're not going to get dirty, that they're not going to step up. That is a mark on this Canes team because we are once again seeing another instance where a guy gets taken out and literally nothing happens after that. If that makes me too old school, if that makes me knuckle draggy, so be it. But that's also a reputation that the Canes end up earning over time. And I do think that the Canes, if there's a bigger picture thing about the Canes with their back-to-back, with stealing a point essentially against Washington, and then also, was it? No, it was
No, they
Utah.
frittered away a point against Washington.
Yeah, it was. They frittered away the point against Washington. And then yesterday they get to overtime. They shouldn't have got to overtime with the Kings, but then Aho saves the day with the game winner. I do feel watching this Canes team, they just need to get the damn break already. They're ready for the Olympic break. They're just ready for it.
Many of their key parts will be playing in the Olympics. So
Yes, but it's a different vibe.
yeah. Well, yesterday was an adventure because you had Martinook seemingly responding to your idea of the Washington game and not being tough enough.
Yes.
And it's a boarding call in the first 32 seconds of the game yesterday.
Mhm.
And LA's like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
So Corey Perry fights him in the first second of the second period.
A lot of fights in that game.
And then, you know, it was a lot of just back and forth everywhere. And it just seemed to be a little bit, you know, even Aho with a little bit of a slash there that he got away with. So interesting kind of feisty game that, of course, ended in the most hockey way possible when they honored the Kings captain there. Jordan Stahl went over. Get my handy dandy notes.
Got your notes.
Yeah. Kopitar.
Yeah. Because this is his farewell season.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, why are they like all lining up to say goodbye? Obviously, they have respect for him. But as the guy covering for AP, I was like, did this guy just get traded? Like, I had a panic attack. Because I'm like, am I going to have to write another story?
Like, what happened?
Killing me.
No, it's just
No extra work for me.
It's just Kopitar.
Please.
Farewell tour and Jordan Stahl, you know,
Please.
paying
no extra work.
respects.
And I was mad that McLovin was a healthy scratch for this game. I was ready to bet on him. Warren Fogili to be the first goal scorer.
Well, didn't you see a guy in a full goal jersey?
Three rows in front of me in the stands there, a guy with a Fogili Canes. You can't, I'm telling you, man, you can't break that from the Caniacs.
What, just like
the next hope, the next big thing.
the
is
next
just
big
around
thing
the
to buy
corner,
that
man.
jersey? Yeah, man.
Just right around the corner.
Somebody's got a whole closet full of guys that could have been. Guys that could have been. I mean, hell, I'm watching the game last night and watching the outdoor game, and Geeky's all up and down the place.
Yeah.
That was my guy, Morgan Geeky.
So you were a Greg
I was
McKegg.
Greg McKegg.
Yeah.
I was a Greg McKegg guy. So we made reference to the other issues surrounding college basketball, and boy, oh boy, was it a hot take weekend on a couple of different fronts. Here's Jamal Mashburn on TNT for their Big 12 basketball coverage, sitting next to Bruce Pearl, who will be next in this audio segment.
We're waiting turns.
Just wait your turn, Bruce. You'll be able to say some ridiculous things here soon. Here's Jamal Mashburn floating the theory on national television that's been popping on the internet related to Cooper Flagg and his reclassification to play as a 17-year-old, Joe, for Duke last year, go to the draft this past year to be the number one pick, and he's having a great season, obviously, with the Dallas Mavericks. Mashburn floated on national TV something that's been popping around the internet now for a good chunk of the season, and that Cooper Flagg did this as a business decision because you look at all the freshmen that are dominating the storylines this year, and that Cooper Flagg would have been lost in the sauce had he played when he was supposed to play, i.e. this year.
So when you I look at last year's number one overall pick in Cooper Flagg. If I was to put him on that list, he would be sixth.
You will put Cooper Flagg behind all five of those.
Behind all five of them. I
Koa
think
Pete, Peterson, Caleb Wilson, everybody.
Just from a skill set and also elevation level of where they can get to. I personally think Caleb Wilson, he's going to take a humongous jump at the pro level. I think he's going to be
such a good pro game.
Yeah, such a good pro game. But I just think that this freshman class, and you contribute everybody from last year, those guys will still be at the top of the list.
Mash.
I thought Cooper Flagg had some holes in his game.
All right, Bash. But one of the things you have the advantage of is you're looking at Cooper Flagg right now and how he's come on in the NBA, and yet you're still.
He just had 49 points.
Do you see Caleb Wilson having 40-something points in the NBA next year?
One thing I will say about
the years down the road.
One thing I will say, I see Darren Peterson having 40 at some point in his rookie year, AJ having 40. But over the long term, Caleb Wilson, in my opinion, is a piece that could be built around for a championship caliber team.
So there's a lot.
It's a lot of faith right there.
There is a lot of faith.
And you know where I stand on Cooper Flagg.
I know.
I think Cooper Flagg would definitely be behind Darren Peterson and AJ DeManza in the draft. I do.
So here's the thing. What do we?
But that's not 5. That's not 6.
So here's the
2 guys.
Here's the thing that I think is getting lost in all this, and I think 2 things can be true. And Bruce Pearl, to his credit, there is like, yeah, man, that's certainly a take given what Cooper Flagg is doing right now in the NBA as the overall number one pick in the draft. I do think there is something to the idea of the business decision. Do you think, all things being equal, Cooper Flagg coming out and having the same kind of season he had last year? Let's just time shift. Okay, let's time shift. Let's say that last year's Duke team is this year. We're talking Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, and the crew. All right.
Yep.
Is it the same with Peterson and the load management, which we'll get to in a second? AJ DeManza putting up big time numbers against competition that isn't exactly up there. He's developing a little bit of knock so far this season, and that the big games he's not showing up, but in games against like Utah, crushing them. Right. So, all things being equal, getting back to the central question, if last year's Duke team is happening right now, equal to what's happening at Kansas, BYU, etc., is Cooper Flagg still the number one pick in the draft?
I don't think he would be over DeManza or Peterson.
I
just
agree.
Based on physical tools and athletic ability and some other things.
That's not a crazy take to make because of the way the NBA works and what they're looking at and all that kind of stuff. Cooper Flagg doesn't go number one.
It's only 2 guys, but
I know.
To the real central question, was it a business decision? I think there's evidence, and I'm going to give you the number one reason why I believe it was a business decision.
And there's nothing wrong with a business decision.
No, it's not a nefarious decision.
No.
Right now we're watching Cam Boozer have an unbelievably dominant season with his twin brother at Duke.
Yeah.
He made that choice to enroll at Duke where their father played, to have a season together, even if it's only going to be one, with his brother on the court with him. Even if his brother wasn't a starter, he's with his brother. He gets to share the whole season. For those who don't know, Cooper Flagg is also a twin. He has a twin, Ace Flagg, who plays at Maine. Now, You're saying Joe, he plays at Maine. What I'm saying to you is a conscious decision was made by Cooper Flagg not to have the season that Cam Boozer's having right now with his twin brother, because they could have had that experience. Cooper and Ace Flagg could have had that experience
Easily
together. Even if Ace doesn't play, even if he only plays in mop-up time, you're still experiencing that 1 year in college together with your twin brother. Cooper Flagg made that choice not to do that. And I think he made the choice knowing also that he was ready to go to college and dominate, and that it would have been a waste of his time to spin his wheels and play another year of prep basketball.
This is a classic case of a couple of things being true at the same time.
There are many topics for lightning rounds today on OMG.
So I think we've done a good job of promoting Drake May and his ties to North Carolina. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Who else do you think is doing a great job of promoting Drake May?
The Charlotte Observer.
Well, no, Scott Fowler's in his bag.
Yeah.
So is Mac Brown.
Oh,
Mac is absolutely in his bag. I feel like we should reach out to
look
Mac.
at that Texas.
I know.
Zip, baby.
He's on a podcast, The Stampede. He's wearing all Texas gear, Texas quarter zip. He's got Texas themed polo underneath, that sort of thing. And he's talking about Drake May and what kind of player he is.
Grew up in a family of older brothers that beat him up. They competed with him every day. They always talked about their rings. They'd throw it in his face. We actually played Clemson. We won the division championship and played Clemson for the conference championship. And he was going to get that ring and didn't get it at that point. So I know that in that family right now, Drake is saying, I need to get a bigger ring than any of you got so I can put it right in your face. But they compete in pickleball. They compete in golf, basketball. It's just like a bunch of brothers walking out in the back. And Coach Royal said to win all the games, you got to have it. Vince has got it. When Vince walks in a room, everybody stops and turns, and they want to talk to Vince. They want to go see Vince. They want to get pictures with Vince. Same with Drake. Drake's 6'5". He like Vince. He's very nice. He's very polite. He's going to stop and talk to everybody. He's got tremendous faith. He's very humble. He's always going to deflect the attention and give it to somebody else, but he is going to compete as hard as he can to win it every time. I walked in the players' lounge one time, and all the players were standing around. There was a broken paddle on the ping pong table. I said, "What's that?" They all pointed at Drake. I said, "Drake?" And he said, "Tight end beat me, coach. I couldn't handle it, man. The tight end beat me." And that's just the way the Vince Youngs of the world and the Colt McCoys and the Drake Mays compete.
So that's Mac Brown, full Texas gear, tying it back to Vince Young, of course, and things like that, wearing his Texas gear and things like that. I love this version of Mac Brown so much.
You know, we actually won the division. That was like, I just take everything as like him talking to a phantom Carolina fan standing behind the camera. Like, hey, you know what we did? We won a division. Should have had a ring.
Think Mac would come on the podcast?
I don't see why not. We just have to get some Texas stuff for him.
Oh, yeah, that'd be easy to do.
Yeah.
That would be easy to do. Just talk about Drake. Again, if I'm Mac Brown, that was my guy. Let's not talk about what I didn't win with Drake.
No.
We don't need to talk about that.
No.
Let's not talk about that.
By the way, the ping pong story is on the sports writer cliche board with tattoos. Tell me about your tattoo. You right. You wax poetic about someone's tattoo. That's in the handbook, and ping pong is right behind it.
I also feel ping pong, table tennis is closely tied to any Carolina lore.
I was going to say there's a famous Tyler Hansbrough story.
Okay, I mean that's
pong.
That is some Carolina lore right there.
Topic, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
All right. No better way to start Black History Month in February with looking at
I thought you were making the Michael Che joke.
I didn't watch Saturday Night Live this week. What did he do?
He said that Cooper Flagg became the first teenager to score 49 points in an NBA game. Black History Month is off to a rough start.
No, the joke that I was going to make is Black History Month is off to a rough start by looking at the NFL hiring cycle.
Oh, there's a LaFleur. Hey,
I got a new LaFleur on the books.
This should be renamed. Bill Belichick was right. It's incestuous. Right?
I didn't even know there was another LaFleur.
Who did?
I had no idea.
Who did?
Meanwhile, Joe Brady's being lauded for a guy who, what exactly has Joe Brady done? What Joe Brady's resume, because I'll be honest, like I haven't been paying that much attention to the inner workings of Buffalo Bills drama. In fact, I reached out to Tyler Dunn, who writes a really good Substack called Go Long, and I was reading about essentially Joe Brady being another Game of Thrones reference, the Littlefinger of the football building. And this man has,
how that ends.
Well, yeah. Well, that's how I think it's going to happen for Joe Brady. He's in it over his head because his whole thing is that he's been able to memory hole his time with the Panthers and rightfully put that on Matt Rule.
Yeah.
And people can just point to, well, look at the work that I've done. Well, the work that you did was with an all-time LSU squad in 2019.
Which you didn't call the plays.
You didn't call the plays. You were on that staff for, 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the 1 year. It's not like you recruited those guys. It's not like you developed those guys. You were the QB coach, right?
I think he was technically the passing game coordinator.
Thank you. And then with Josh Allen's stats are indistinguishable from the other offensive coordinators that Josh Allen worked with. Guess what, Joe? You and I could probably tell Josh Allen, hey, and you know what I think you should do? Just go do Josh Allen things.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. And sure enough, that's what Josh Allen did. He went down and did Josh Allen things while Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator because somebody had to take the fall for yet another exit. That would be Ken Dorsey. Okay. So look at the Joe Brady stuff and I'm going, wow, talk about not being qualified. Joe Brady, ladies and gentlemen, right place, right time. People getting fired. You just got to move up. Good for you, man. Good for you. But yeah, in looking around at all this stuff, I have a feeling that what do you think? I'll close it on this. What do you think Roger Goodell would rather spend time talking about at his State of the NFL address, which I think happens on Tuesday or Wednesday? What do you think he would rather spend time talking about? The Rooney Rule?
There's tremendous success in Europe.
The Rooney Rule? Would he rather talk about the Rooney Rule or certain NFL owners popping up on a Jeffrey Epstein email dump?
There's a lot of NFL, isn't there? Russell Wilson trying to buy a plane?
Russell just wanted the plane. Now, I don't know about you.
I don't know if I want to buy the plane.
I don't know about you, but if I knew what was going on, I wouldn't want that plane.
No.
Big thanks to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. I'm sure they could draw up a policy for you to show up to the commissioners forum and say, hey, sign this. There's certain things you can ask and cannot ask. They could draw that up for you.
Sure, we're going to get there, yeah.
To WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save with our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. I know you're not thinking about mosquitoes right now, but once all the snow thaws out, we're right around the spring and the mosquitoes are back. You'll be thinking about them then. So get on it now and start thinking about those treatments. Also things like misting systems. And of course, at Pest Authority, they go beyond the quarterly treatments. No contracts. You can do things like moisture barriers and more. So again, check them out online at bugsbite.com. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. TheButchersMarkets.com. You might go to a Publix. You might go to a Wegmans. They're cleared out of everything. Nah, see, the Butcher's Market's always got you covered. They got the meat case ready to go. They got prepared meals. Grab and go. Grab a sandwich while you're going to a game. All that kind of stuff. It's all at the Butcher's Market. Also, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Okay? You know what you can give somebody?
Meat?
The gift of meat. Steak of the Month Club.
Ooh.
Right?
It's delicious.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Try your own variety of sausages. The English bangers, for example.
That's true, too. So head on over to thebutchersmarkets.com. Again, that's thebutchersmarkets.com. Let's say you don't want to go to the Butcher's Market. You want to get something for free from the Butcher's Market.
What?
How's
that even possible?
There's a real easy way to get a free gift basket from the Butcher's Market. And that's to refinance with Miller Lending. Again, no closing costs. So, I mean, we're talking free on free on free. All
Rollback
right?
too.
Hell yes. Go to MillerLending.com or call them directly at 919-447-3377. With Miller Lending, you're not going to pay closing costs. There's no games. There's no gimmicks. There's no shell games about APRs and all this other crap. It's the rate. And if the rate comes down, refinance again. There's no break-even points that you have to sweat. It's just all straight business. And it's all at Miller Lending. So call them today at 919-447-3377. Take it to close. Yes, you will get a gift basket from the Butcher's Market. You will also get a Roback from us. So again, go to MillerLending.com. Again, that's MillerLending.com. And of course, our friends at Two Roosters. Check them out, tworoosters.com. Don't do stuff like snow cream. No, that's a terrible idea. You want like pure, good, great ingredients and great flavors. And February is Lovers Month, speaking of Valentine's Day. Guess what? They're bringing back all the Lovers flavors. Have you seen the peanut butter Lovers?
Excuse me? Peanut butter base with peanut butter cookies, Reese's Pieces, and peanut butter swirl. That sounds like one that I cooked up. Wow.
Guess what I'm doing Tuesday?
Wow.
Off to go get
Oreo lovers, non-dairy lemon lovers, brownie lovers, and cookie dough lovers.
Ooh, all great stuff. So head them up to roosters.com. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. Let's hit the OG Sports phone.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 919.
Hello, OG. 6:30 p.m. Saturday night. Snow going on, more so in some areas than others. Congratulations to all the Triangle schools for winning today. Feel bad for Steve Forbes in Wake Forest. That might not end well when this season is done, the way this is going. The most special shout-out I want to give to is Cal for beating Miami 86-85. This game just ended. The reason why is because Miami, you, as far as I'm concerned, are in the same realm with Notre Dame as far as the ACC goes. Mario Cristobal, the stunt you pulled with Mensa, and the wide receiver, Bearcat, Baccarat, wasn't that a card game in the Bond movies? The wide receiver. Any rate, after the stunt that you pulled, you're Notre Dame as far as I'm concerned. Get out of the fucking conference. I apologize, Ovies, to you and your dad. That's not directed to the past Miami teams. The greatness, the you, is directed for this current culture of we'll just steal anybody at the last damned minute. Thank you as always. Looking forward to next week's shows. Have a good weekend. Stay safe in the weather.
Strong words from Curtis.
Yeah.
On that particular topic that's still evoking some feelings. I get it. I understand. There's also some personal responsibility in that too, but I get it from the Miami perspective. And yeah, I pointed this out on Saturday after NC State was running Wake Forest. It's like, oh, we're getting closer and closer to having to have that conversation about Steve Forbes, aren't we?
And little Davey Odom's son is now occupied in the league. I asked for forgiveness from my Wake Forest friends for what I'm about to say.
Your Deeks.
But I thought of this on Saturday for a solid, the post Jim Grobe championship up until like last year.
Mm-hmm.
All Wake Forest had were their annual wins over NC State in football and men's basketball. They can't beat them in football anymore, and they can't beat them in basketball anymore. So what does Wake have?
The walking Deke?
I apologize. pointing it out.
Yes.
Hey, they beat Carolina in football.
That's right.
Maybe they'll beat them in hoops.
Maybe that's what it is.
No, they lost them in hoops.
Maybe they're transitioning. I have no idea. Over to Carolina. I have no idea. All right, let's go to a 919.
What up, Joe Squares? Just a snowy return back with another conference win. I mean, it's a story as old as time. State goes on the road, State wins. Just keeps on winning. So it was nice winning in Winston-Salem. I don't get to enjoy that very often. So let's just try to get home okay. I know that it's not the smartest for me, but what can you do? I'm not the smartest. All right. See you boys later.
Steve is nuts.
Winston-Salem's not that big. That's not that big of a drive.
Did he put the phone in the wipers?
He must have. He must have. This is a text from a 919. Hey, Ovies, have you read this athletic story about NFL players reacting to Bad Bunny? It is both funny and sad. It should have always been an American. Dude, the U.S. took Puerto Rico in the 1890s. Thanks, Joseph Pulitzer. Quote, better examples of character and morality. Motherfucker, we had Dre. Dude beat up D. Character and morality, get the fuck out of here. I was like, okay. So I saw that text come in earlier today, so I went and read the athletic story about Bad Bunny doing the halftime show. And some of these quotes, I'm like, those aren't real quotes. Sure enough, a few respondents did weigh in on the culture war aspect. So about this, because Bad Bunny won a bunch of Grammys yesterday, and he had a speech that's gone viral. And ever since this is even before that, when he was announced as the halftime performer, the culture war stuff. All I ask is for people to take a gander as to who is the one promoting the culture war. Is it Bad Bunny or is it this, right? The people who say, I don't even know who Bad Bunny is. I always think it should be an American. That's an actual quote. He is.
No, Joe. I mean, white American from the mainland.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll see you all tomorrow.